The deal is final. The Spurs will send Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to the Raptors for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a 2019 first-round pick. League sources tell me the Raptors and Spurs are getting on a trade call with the league office momentarily to finalize the deal.
There's a new NBA champion, and it's a team from Toronto, Canada. We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
Well, Kawhi Leonard has made his decision just minutes ago. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Kawhi Leonard is going to join the Clippers here in Los Angeles. He's informed the runners-up teams of his plans. That would be the Lakers and the Raptors. Leonard coming off an NBA title with the Raptors in his only season in Toronto. Southern California native headed back home here to play for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of the JB Show. It's a sad day for Toronto Raptors fans. I woke up this morning and I found out Kawhi Leonard is no longer a Toronto Raptor. Oh, it was too good to be true. Man, it was very exciting. He signed with the Los Angeles Clippers for 4 years at $142 million. And you know who went along with him? Paul George. Paul George, a couple days ago, requested a trade to the Los Angeles Clippers. And OKC got everything. Literally everything. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 4 unprotected first-round picks, 1 protected first-round pick, and 2 pick swaps for Paul George. I really hope that the Los Angeles Clippers, they better win. They better win. That's all I'm going to say. That is a whole lot to give up for Paul George. Now, Paul George is worth it. Paul George is definitely worth, maybe it was a little bit of an overpayment, but he's definitely worth most of that. Now, let me get back to what I was talking about. I keep switching subjects because I don't want to talk about it. That Kawhi Leonard isn't a Raptor, but I have to talk about it. He was traded last year for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and this year's first-round pick. He had played 9 games. 9 games with San Antonio the year before. A whole mess. Just a huge mess in San Antonio his last season with the injury. Not getting diagnosed properly. It's just not going well. Then he gets traded to the Raptors. Ends up starting 60 games. Plays 60 games. And it was incredible. It was incredible. It was like he was a superstar. Just there was no question about it. And I cannot believe he's not a Toronto Raptor. He averaged 26.6 points in the regular season. 26.6 points with 3.3 assists and 7.3 rebounds. We were watching one of the greatest players, and now he's gone. We were so close to bringing him back. Jalen Rose, a day or two ago, at this point it'd be 2 or 3 days, he came on and said, from what I hear, my guy, it seems like 99% that he is going back to the Toronto Raptors. And it seemed like I was reading rumors that the Clippers were completely out of the question. And where does he go? The Los Angeles Clippers. The Los Angeles Clippers now have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Now, rumors are that Kawhi Leonard has been talking to Paul George for a while. They've been trying to team up, and now they get to. Now, this morning, I heard that the Raptors, OKC, and Clippers were talking. The OKC was trying to get the most out of both teams, which is fair. And I'm looking at what the Clippers offered for Paul George, and I can't see the Raptors giving that much up. Now, would I love to have Kawhi and Paul George back? Yes. Yes, I would. Or I'd love to have Kawhi back and bring in Paul George. Now, who are you giving up? You're at least starting with... I know there are people I was reading that said Pascal Siakam was not part of the deal. Now, I find that extremely hard to believe that Pascal Siakam was not part of that deal after the season he had. The discussions would have started with Pascal Siakam. Because we're talking about a player who was in the first All-NBA team, an NBA All-Star, and almost won the MVP of the regular season. We're not talking about Kawhi Leonard from last year who had only started 9 games. We're talking about a legitimate superstar who just had another superstar season. I don't know personally how comfortable I would have been taking on that with all the picks that we would have to give up and all the players we'd have to give up. And to tack on to that, it seems like Russell Westbrook would have been in that deal as well. And don't get me wrong, that's not a negative to the deal. But there's a reason that that OKC hasn't won a championship. They had at a time, they had not only did they have Russell Westbrook, but they had Kevin Durant. Yes, at the time, Kevin and James Harden. Let's not forget that. And sure, you can say both those players were not the same player that they were or that they are now. Yes, I can argue with you right now that when Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant all played on OKC, they are not the players that they are now. But even at that time, I would have considered them 3 superstars of the league, and they could not get it done. Why? Because they all want the ball. They all want the ball. Especially Russell Westbrook. When you have a point guard like Russell Westbrook, the ball always goes through him, no matter what. The ball always goes through him. And arguably, I think it's easy to say that's why James Harden went to Houston, because James Harden, the type of player he is, he likes the ball to go through him. Now, why wouldn't that work on Toronto? Now, we're talking about putting on Russell Westbrook with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard alone like the ball going through them. So now you're tacking on Russell Westbrook, who thinks he has to do everything, when in fact, he doesn't have to do anything because he'd have, theoretically, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Now, let me get back to reality, because it's great to talk about having Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and whoever else on the same team. But that is just not the reality we are living in right now. We're living in the reality that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, let's look at what the starting lineup would be with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Point guard for the Clippers, Patrick Beverley. They had to give up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so Patrick Beverley automatically becomes your starting point guard. Shooting guard. You could put the shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. kind of a bit of a mess right now. But right now, let's say it's Lou Williams. They recently re-signed. He's a great sixth man. Or you could put Landry Shamet. One of those two players will most likely be your shooting guard. Now, at small forward, I think you put Kawhi Leonard at small forward. And at power forward, you put Paul George. Now, they're both going to act like small forward players anyways. So wherever you put them, that's how it's going to be. Put Kawhi at power forward, you put Paul George at power forward. The way they play, it does not matter what position they're playing at. And at center, you have Montrezl Harrell. Oh my God. Oh my God. This team is amazing. I think this team is amazing. Playoffs automatically. Not even close. How far do they go? I don't know. But let me tell you this. For the city of Los Angeles, this is amazing. You now have a rivalry of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If you thought things were okay before, things are going to be amazing. Amazing in Los Angeles. The West next year, I talked about it in my last episode where I talked about free agency. Though I said the West was going to be crazy next year. The West is going to be awesome. It's just going to be nuts. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Golden State's up there. Now that the Clippers brought in both these players, Clippers are up there. Lakers are up there. I can go on and on with the teams. It's going to be a very fun year for the West. Now, I want to go, why did Kawhi pick the Clippers? And I think I have my reason. There's a couple reasons. Now, obviously, he wanted to be close to home. He's from San Diego. He lives in San Diego. It's close. Closer than Toronto. He wants to be his own player. But he wanted to team up with someone. And I think Paul George is the player. He wanted to team up with Paul George. Now, he could have teamed up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But why did he not do that? And my honest opinion is the pressure. There is so much pressure on the Lakers right now. Because the Lakers, I said this last episode, the Lakers are the team. Even after these two signings, the Lakers are the team in LA, no matter what. If the Lakers don't win the championship next year with the team they have, it's going to be insanity. It's going to be insanity. Even though I don't think they'll win next year. I do not think the LA Lakers will win next year. Now, with the Clippers, the pressure isn't on them, right? Especially on Kawhi. Kawhi signed through free agency. But Paul George, for Paul George, they gave up 5 first-round picks, a potential superstar point guard, and Danilo Gallinari. So, I think right now, if I was looking at this team, I'd have to say that the pressure is really on Paul George because of what the Clippers had to give up. Because God forbid that the Clippers just completely crop the bed next year. There's a pick going right to OKC. So, but the pressure really isn't there compared to the pressure that's on the Lakers right now. That does not compare to what is on the Clippers. And that's why I think Kawhi went to the Clippers. I think he thought about going to the Lakers. Imagine being able to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those three players, another big three that would be created. I think that would be insane. But going to the Clippers, I thought was better for Kawhi. Now it's just him and Paul George. It's their team. It's because if you go to LA, no matter what, it's LeBron's team. If you look at that team right now, it's not LeBron and Anthony Davis's team. That's LeBron's team, no matter what. He could be 10 years older and half the player he is, and it would still be LeBron's team because it's LeBron James. Now, my last point for today. What do the Raptors do next? There's a list of things they could do. They can go out, get some free agents. They could they could completely rebuild. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if that's the route they take. If they go let's not call it a rebuild. I like to call it a retool. That's what they like to call it in hockey. So I'm going to call it a retool because they don't need to get rid of everybody. They already have a superstar player to build around in Pascal Siakam. Now they have Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Kyle Lowry all on the last year of their contracts. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if Kyle Lowry is not a Toronto Raptor at the beginning of the season. Now, it's contingent on one thing. Unless the Toronto Raptors somehow bring in a big name, some type of big name through trade or free agency, and they're going to be competitive again, I cannot see this team not retooling. I do not see Kyle Lowry on this team next year. I do not see one of Marc Gasol or Serge Ibaka will not be on this team at the start of the season. And I'd hate to see them go, but it's a reality. It's a reality. At least two of them need to go. You can bring in, okay, I get they're old and they're on huge money. They've gone big paydays. But I think you can get decent returns for them. And you know what? Maybe Kyle Lowry says, you know what, trade me for this year and I'll come back on a cheaper contract. I don't know. I don't know how Kyle Lowry's next year is going to go. And I don't know what he's going to demand in free agency. But if I'm Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, and I know that I can't get anything else, I can't get another free agent, the trade market's not out there for a big guy, I think they need to somehow retool. And if that means getting rid of Kyle Lowry, just like they got rid of DeMar DeRozan, I say do it. I love Kyle Lowry just the same way I love DeMar DeRozan. But if you have the opportunity to bring in picks, to bring in younger players, whatever you bring in, do it because it's going to help for the future. Now, between Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, it's a little bit harder. Yeah, they're both good centers, but I don't think you're getting the same return, not even close, as what you'd get for Kyle Lowry. Only because, fine, Kyle Lowry does not put up big points, but Kyle Lowry, I think, drives the play. He's a great play driver for the Raptors. Now, would he be for other teams? I'd have to say yes. Now, a lot of people do not like Kyle Lowry because he doesn't put up big points. And this is what I say to those people. I think you're wrong. I think Kyle Lowry's a great player. He's done what he's needed to do. Just because he doesn't put up the points doesn't mean doesn't mean he's not a good player. He's the guy who brings up the ball. He's the guy who starts the play. And this year, I think he did it very well with Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, and at the end of the year, Marc Gasol. Yes, fine. There was a game where he put up 0 points. And yes, that's a bit disappointing. But just because he doesn't put up 20 points or 25 points or 15 points, anywhere in between those ranges a game, everyone's like, he's not a good player. But that's not what makes a player a good player. And it pisses me off because Kyle Lowry is a good player. And I think you can get decent return for Kyle Lowry. Now, what's going to diminish his value? His salary. He makes, this year alone, 33. The cap hit is $34.9 million. And his salary comes out to 33.2 with a 1.7 million in incentive. So yeah, that is a lot of money for Kyle Lowry. Do I think he's worth that money? Personally, no, but that's a lot of money. Kawhi Leonard signed a max contract at 4 years and is not getting that base salary for this season. For this coming season. Now, let me do a quick recap. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are now Los Angeles Clippers, and the Los Angeles Clippers will make it far next year. The Toronto Raptors are going to start retooling, and that may mean trading Kyle Lowry. Thank you for listening to another episode of the JB Show. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think the Raptors are going to do. Let me know how you think the Clippers are going to do. And let me know what you think of the Paul George trade. Thank you.